Well, hello, everybody. Good morning. Welcome in. Glad you're with us here. It is Thursday with Longshore and McKnight, presented by Bud Light. Easy to drink, easy to enjoy. You know the routine. I'm in Montgomery. Barry is in Troy, but with the miracle of the internet and I guess electricity and a couple of other things, here we are.
Yep, it feels as though, we're side by side. Every once in a while on the program, I'll look over here. I have a spot on the wall that I can always look at, and I know it looks like I'm looking at John. But yeah, we're 50 miles away. But that never was a problem before, back when we were on radio all of those years. People say, you only see John once a week? At most, it's in my contract.
It's his guy, exactly. Yeah. Only 1 week's the max.
Never really hurt the vibe or the banter or the back and forth of the program, for which I suppose we should be thankful. Here, I'm struggling with this in my soul here these days. John, people talk about the NCAA being ineffective, neutered, and spayed. Toothless, can't enforce infractions. We used to have things like academic standards and stuff.
No.
This is the time of the year where I'm sad about that. Yeah. Because, as you know, and some fathers believe this, and definitely some coaches and athletic administrators believe this, John. If you got less rules, there's less rules to break.
True. Man, you're right.
This used to be, I'll admit it, programming-wise, John and I used to kick around, hey, what do we got? You want to talk about this or about that? I don't know. Let's just go back because let's just go back to the well. And sure enough, now would be the time that somebody'd get in trouble down at the beach for public drunkenness, or somebody would be taking an illicit ride on somebody's boat, or somebody
a shopping spree at a men's store at a mall. Yeah.
Somebody
those days
would actually get caught smoking marijuana.
What? Really? No way.
I mean, they'd get kicked off the team, John.
You
are going first try at it. NCAA infractions. Oh, that letter of inquiry. Are you kidding? Ooh, John.
So you're right. I mean, if you got a letter of inquiry, if there was any snooping around by the NCAA, I mean, you were getting the steak sauce out going, man, this is going to be great. This is just what we needed. This will last at least 2 weeks, if not longer. Beautiful. This is great. But I mean, so what? NCAA, whatever. Drug test, I don't care. Not happening anymore. Failing out of school, I don't even go to school. So, I mean,
and then also pay somebody to take my notes for me.
Yeah, if you were going to get in trouble, do it in like the middle of October during the season. Don't do it in early June when there's nothing else going on and you are the center of attention all summer long.
Here's what the columnists would say. Here's what the beat writers would report on. Here is what, in the infancy, sports talk radio used to be focused on in October. Wow, I see such and so got a 1 week suspension for violation of team rules. Wow. Man, that's going to hurt them in the game this week against Tennessee. And speaking of that game, the Tide is a 17-point favorite, and you just gloss right on. In the summer, John and I would be like, I heard that guy was smoking the tobacco, or I heard that this guy wasn't exactly burning the midnight oil in his studies. And furthermore, I hear that his roommate, we used to, he's right. We used to ride that for 2 weeks.
Yeah. Here is a couple of examples that come to the top of my head.
A tear to my eye. So if I get a little misty, you guys are just going to have to get me off the screen.
And first of all, for our viewers and listeners out there, just to give you a heads up, a little schedule change today. Jason Caldwell will join us at the bottom of the second hour today. Rodney Orr at the top of the second hour, and Senator Tommy Tuberville will join us in about 25 minutes from Washington, D.C. So, Coach going to join us at the bottom of this hour, Rodney at the top of the next one, Jason at the bottom of hour number 2. So we're going to go ahead and get Gurn Jr. to get all that set up with Senator Tuberville and send the links and all that good stuff to his representatives to get that locked and loaded. But we got to work around the senator's schedule. He's a little busy up there in D.C. So he'd be more than happy to accommodate.
Well, partly because, we want to talk a little football with him.
Oh, yeah.
He's on the College Football Hall of Fame ballot now. Want to talk a little bit about, the world of college athletics. And, John, he might be a neighbor sometimes.
It could be,
He might be moving to town.
That's right. I mean, Governor's Mansion isn't far from where I live. I pass by it pretty regularly. I don't know if he'll live there or somewhere else. We'll ask. All right, here's a couple of examples. I believe Cam Newton got arrested for a moped violation at Auburn in the summer, and that kind of lingered for a while. And what did Lorenzo Diamond's old lady shoot him in the summer, or was that during the season? Because that seemed to linger a while as well.
I know Twilita graduated at the end of summer term. I don't remember that. I want to say it was in the summer, and it was an accident. Now, Cam's moped deal, basically, he was evidently riding a moped without a license plate on it.
No. I think he was evading police officers on a moped.
Because that might have been T.J. Finley.
Because I think his license had been revoked. So he did not have a driver's license at the time, thinking, I can just drive a moped. That's not really, you don't need a license for that. Yeah, T.J. Finley was another one. But I want to say some type of moped violation that seemed to linger. And I know what you're thinking.
No. It didn't linger. Moped violation in the morning. It's a misdemeanor, people. It's a moped. Let's get a little perspective here. It is a moped. It's got like as much horsepower as your self-propelled lawnmower.
Yeah.
And some people are acting as though he is driving a Maserati at 180 down I-65. It's a moped.
He got a violation.
He went down to Auburn City Hall, paid the fine, and that's it. Some people would have you believe that, it did linger. Wonder why that subject lingered.
I've seen some pretty fast mopeds in my day. I've actually driven a moped a time or two. They're big in Caribbean islands and stuff like that.
And 6'5". It ain't easy to get that moped going very fast when you're 250. That's some of the ladies I've seen. Well,
yeah, that engine is working extra hard. Now I know what you're thinking.
So's that seat.
Who was the kid that snuck through the sunroof and stole the gear out of the guy's car? I can't remember.
A, it wasn't a sunroof. I want to say it was a ragtop. I mean, it was a convertible. He cut through it. And B, it was Robert Stewart.
I believe that was in the summer too.
But don't you miss it, man? I mean, we used to every once in a while. Both of us are, believe in a higher authority. We believe in the man upstairs and everything. And there would be times whenever we'd be pretty confident going into a show. Man, golly, what kind of, and he will provide. There will be something. Lately,
now, I will say Barry, probably
he's not investigating anybody.
No, heck no. It's a free for all out there. And I'll get back to that. But probably the two most infamous situations did happen to if my recollect, and I believe I'm correct.
Okay.
Maybe three of them, now that I think of it. I know the fishing trip with Julio and Mark Ingram was not during the season.
It was not. No.
I do know that. They went out deep sea fishing. I believe the T-Town menswear situation didn't happen during the season either. Maybe it was revealed during the season.
It was revealed out of the season.
And
my understanding is that it was happening a lot. During the season.
Mojo's Tire and Curb Feelers or whatever that place was called out there in Alberta City.
Mojo's Rims out there. I think that was in Irondale or something like that, where with your status, as a student athlete on the football team at the University of Alabama got you not only free room and board, but a special deal on some rims on an
you got to trick that thing up.
Challenger.
Yeah, you got to trick that thing up with some good rims and whatnot. Purple underglow. I've always been a fan of that. I thought that's pretty cool. You see that coming down the street.
Yeah.
But those are some that they're top of mind. I'm sure if we dug back and looked through the memory books over 30 plus years, there's a lot more we could come up with. I mean, of course, the gold standard is a former Auburn quarterback shooting a gun off at the Crystal parking lot, but that was like in the 80s, maybe the 70s.
No, it was the mid 80s. It was Jeff Berger, and I don't think he shot it off. I just think he had it in the parking lot.
I don't know the story I heard. But there was a former player at Alabama.
Some of these details get kind of clouded with age and everything.
I can tell you this, Barry. There was a player from Montgomery who got the nickname Shotgun, played at Lee High School, Kenny Simon. He did shoot a shotgun off at Bryant Hall. That was in the 70s. So I do remember that one.
Okay.
Yeah. They called him. So his nickname is Shotgun Kenny Simon.
Doesn't anybody do anything stupid anymore? Come on, people.
Now, don't ask me about stupid stuff that happened at the frat house, because that could get me in trouble. I can't reveal any of that kind of stuff.
As far as content and banter and insight and everything, we're fine. This used to be the time of the year where, man, John, in the morning, he'd be ruffling that paper and saying, ooh,
Barry, when's the last time you got a text in the summer with, uh-oh, or the little emoji of rats jumping off the ship? I mean, it's been, how long has that been?
So many of these are even before there was such a thing as emojis, Now we're getting a lot of things from people. I don't even really know. You're bringing up stuff that maybe I missed back the first time around, Well,
that's the ice cream. Remember the ice cream?
Yeah, but once the booster's daughter he got in trouble or something.
Yeah, what was the daddy said, you should have hit her. She's her.
Oh, that was Courtney Upshaw. Yeah,
it's her fault.
Anyway, and John's, wasn't it? See, you guys are bringing up stuff, and you're totally bogarting my point. And wasn't there a stolen laptop as well? Yeah, that was somewhere else. I mean, that was after the fact. People didn't pay attention to it at all around our sphere of influence until that guy had the audacity to transfer to Auburn. So it wasn't a big deal when it happened, but later on, retroactively, you guys made a big deal. So anyway,
that was awesome.
Just all I'm saying is that we're open. I mean, we're locked and loaded. Something happens, John and I are off and running, because believe me, it will not catch us by surprise. It will not. Ready to go.
That'll be awesome. All right. So actually, Barry, Coach Tuberville's representatives let me know that the coach has got a little time earlier for us today. So what do you say we take a break and we'll hook up with Senator Tuberville when we get back. Able to come on a little early with us today, so that'll be fantastic. Good. So we'll get Gern to get that off. Matter of fact, I think they've got it. So, we'll take a quick break and hook up with Senator Tuberville when we return.
He is John Longshore. I'm Barry McKnight. In association with Yellowhammer News, it's Longshore and McKnight, presented by Bud Light.
Ford announces employee pricing on every new 24 and most new 25 Fords, and only at Stivers Ford in Montgomery, up to $5,000 below employee pricing, plus no payments for 90 days. From America, for America, at Stivers Ford in Montgomery, home of America's best-selling truck for nearly 50 years in a row, the F-150, with hundreds to choose from. The Ford Escape, the Ford Edge, and the Ford Bronco, all priced at thousands below invoice. And pack up the crew in a Ford Expedition or a Ford Explorer for the beach, the lake, or the big game. It's all at Stivers Ford in Montgomery, where price sells cars.
On the basketball court, the soccer pitch, or even the golf course, your crew brings their best not just for the win, but for that post-game celebration. When victory tastes like Michelob Ultra, it's worth every drop of sweat. And if you don't win, you'll still get the beer. It's just on you. Superior is worth playing for. Michelob Ultra, 2.6 carbs, 95 calories. Superior Light Beer. Enjoy responsibly. Copyright 2025, Anheuser-Busch Michelob Ultra Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
Dixie Electric Plumbing and Air rallies for you. No matter the problem, Dixie will tackle it. Their licensed and trusted electricians, plumbers, air and garage door technicians are ready to win for you. From toilets to garbage disposals, circuit breakers to HVAC systems, Dixie never fumbles. Don't throw away your hard-earned money on second-string contracting companies. Score big with Dixie. After all, they are your biggest fan. Visit calldixie.com or dial them up locally at 262-2946. All righty, about 15 minutes past the hour here on a Thursday. Senator Tommy Tuberville going to join us here momentarily. I will tell you, Bear, I'm a little geeked up. It's been a couple of days, but the NBA Finals do begin tonight. Maybe more on that in hour number 2. Who knows?
Maybe.
But I'm expecting it to be a really good matchup between the Pacers and the Thunder beginning in Oklahoma City tonight.
Yeah, looking forward to that. Looking forward to a lot of it. We're getting really into, we've been, plowing ahead on the show for the first part of the week. But, it's getting into stuff nowadays. The Oilers in overtime ended up beating the Panthers 4-3 in the first game of the NHL playoff. 7:30 tonight, Pacers and Thunder Pacers and Thunder are coming from
OKC.
Oklahoma City. Yep. Mm-hmm. So, we have got that going on. And tomorrow, it's the start of the Super Regionals in college baseball. So we've got that working for us as well. There's plenty to be excited about. That Auburn Regional, Auburn versus Coastal Carolina, gets underway Friday. That's a late start. That's an 8 o'clock start time for that one tomorrow. From
how many Super Regionals are there? I'm surprised I don't know that off the top of my head.
There are
how many locations?
There are 1, 2. Hang on, let me look at it this way. There are 1, 2, 3, 4. There are 8 of them, 8 different locations. There were 16 regionals, 8 super regionals, and the winners of those 8 super regionals will be the 8 teams in the Men's College World Series. So
that's
there are 8 of them.
Yeah, I was thinking about it because it seems like, I don't know, is it just me or is there just more teams involved in postseason baseball than really any other sport? It just seems like a lot of teams are involved.
It's the same. It just, a lot of teams that you've probably never heard of or never paid attention to are being successful. Mm-hmm. In the Super Regionals, Murray State is in. There's regionals are in Auburn, Fayetteville, Louisville, Corvallis, Chapel Hill, Los Angeles, that's UCLA is hosting, Durham, and Baton Rouge. So those are the 8. Most of them are Southeastern centric. And that's my favorite part of the regionals, because you got games going on all day, every day, all the time. The Super Regionals, they all start on Friday. And they all start on Friday, and they run Saturday, and maybe if there's not a 2-game.
So of those 8 super regionals, only 8 teams end up in Omaha?
Yep, only 8. Omaha's 8. 8 of them. So, looking forward to that. It's the first time ever that Auburn has hosted a super regional, which is hard for me to imagine. I think it's the 4th super regional that Butch Thompson has taken Auburn to, more than anybody else. My favorite baseball coach at Auburn was Hal Baird. Is Hal Baird. He may be my favorite coach ever at Auburn. But Coach Thompson has surpassed even him. I'm telling you, I know the football team has not been great. Maybe we'll have a word or two with Senator Tuberville about that, but everything in women's basketball, everything else, pretty doggone good over at Auburn.
It has been. Good. We talked about the spring sports, very impressive. Well, we all know that football is king, and the majority of the fan base wants more production,
more success,
more wins, more success out of the football program. And certainly it'll be a big year in year 3 for Hugh Freeze. We've been talking a lot about that, but as I said earlier this week, I think it's a big year for both Kalen DeBoer and Hugh Freeze. Quite obvious, honestly. I think DeBoer's got to make the playoff, and Freeze, as he said a couple of weeks ago, he's got to be in a bowl game, and not some just crappy bowl. He's got to be in a good bowl game.
See, he didn't say that. He just said a bowl game, and I'm thinking you may lift it, nothing the Birmingham Bowl and stuff, but going to the Birmingham Bowl this year, that ain't it, Chief. That ain't.
No.
That ain't
Has Auburn played in that game once or twice? They played Memphis one year, didn't they, in that bowl?
Yeah, they played Memphis one year back whenever the guy Robinson, the JUCO guy, played there 1 year running back, and then they played Houston. The first one at Protective Stadium in.
It's going to be bigger and better this year. I got a big feeling,
no doubt.
Hey, joining us now is Senator Tommy Tuberville, a friend of the program, always gracious with his time, and we appreciate it. Coach, how you doing this morning?
Good morning. Trying not to screw anything up. How about you guys?
Same, exactly the same. We're in the same boat. Coach, a lot of things we want to get to with you. We do appreciate your time. Have you noticed an appreciable change in atmosphere since the election of 2024, the presidential election?
Oh my goodness! I mean, animals were running a zoo up here for 4 years, and actually, the Chinese Communist Party was running. We're finding more and more about how Joe Biden and his cronies, all the Democrats, the far left. Now, there's some good Democrats, but the far left was running the show, and it's been an absolute disaster. Trying to pick and clean through what they had left, the American people, how much money they stole. It was most corruption you've ever seen. We're finding more and more now about how COVID was directed at the American people on purpose. Just one thing after another. I talked to Elon Musk, and I might have told y'all this a few months ago, talking to him. He basically said, listen, if we released out what we've found right now all at one time to the American people, there would be an uprising. And I'm not sure we shouldn't do that, but there's so many things that these clowns did to the American people and try to destroy our country from within. It is just, it's criminal. And so that being said, President Trump has got a handle on it. Now they're fighting him tooth and nail, all this mainstream media, but we're making progress. We're getting back to reality and giving the country back to the American people.
Coach, I think it's becoming more and more evident that somebody else was running the country. It wasn't Joe Biden. I mean, you're seeing some of this liberal media that's kind of turning and writing books and exposing what was going on. They were hiding it when he was there. Now they're exposing it, and it just is. It's frightening to know that the most powerful man on the planet really wasn't running the country.
Yeah, it just shows you how stupid these people were. They knew it was going to get out once President Trump got in, but they kept hiding it, and the Biden family, the crime family, the Clintons, the Obamas, all of them, they all instigated all this nonsense. And, Joe Biden never made a decision. The auto pen was at work. You'll see more and more stuff come out. Hopefully it comes out. Up here, sometimes it tends to go underneath the rug, and they say, well, let's just don't do that. Let's go north instead of south. So, yeah, we all knew it up here, and I told y'all, the guy didn't know what day it was, and I told y'all many times that I don't know who's running the place, but it's not Joe Biden. But it was criminal what has happened. They put us in harm's way with China and Russia, and started help even create the Ukraine war, and could have stopped it and didn't do it. It's just so many things that have gone on up here. You can't keep up with it. It's just absolutely amazing, but it's scary what they've done to our country.
Well, let's talk about your role in all of that. You know as well as anybody, so many people run for the Senate and national office strictly with the idea that we're going to do whatever we can to stay up there as long as we can. You ran, and you had a specific set of goals and things that you wanted to address. And now it seems as though, again, like you talked about, so many of the things that you wanted to address, not only have you addressed, but you've addressed effectively. Do you think of things like your legacy in Washington and the effectiveness of everything that you've done?
Well, I think that my colleagues would tell you up there pretty quick that, I was going to stand up for the American people, the abortion issue, which, they tried to pull over our eyes in terms of the military, and I held up promotions, and a lot of those promotions were not needed to begin with, thousands of them. But at the end of the day, they know that don't come to me unless you're for the American people. Don't come to me with a bill. Don't come and ask me to try to vote for something that's going to spend money that we shouldn't spend. I'm very conservative. Don't come to me about changing anything unless it's going to help our young people become better people. They knew that. And so I think at the end of the day, a lot of them have come to me since I've made my announcement to run for governor. And man, we wish you'd stay up here. We know where you stand.
People feel that way, Coach.
Yeah.
I got to tell you, I'm not surprised. I mean, we didn't talk about it, off the record or anything like that, but just reading you and seeing you, I just thought, God, I just get the sense that, there's maybe something somewhere else he would rather be with his talents in politics. So, I get it. I'd love to see you still in Washington, but I certainly understand your desire and want to be the governor of this state. What all went into that? If you could kind of maybe tell our viewers and our listeners, how you came to that decision.
Well, first of all, being a United States senator, it's not rocket science. You're one of 100, and you basically go by the Constitution. You do what's right for your state, for the people of your state. There's not a whole lot you can get done other than just fight behind the scenes and then fight publicly, like I did on several things, like against men and women's sports, overspending. Obviously the promotion thing of holding up for a year of all promotions and in generals and admirals. But it's not something that you can do a lot of good, but it's a slow grind. And then again, you're just one of 100. As a governor, you can build. I mean, you get to make decisions that actually affect people's daily lives. And that's what I wanted to do to begin with. I was going to run for governor when Bentley was in and he got impeached and Kay Ivey went. I said, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to do something else, and maybe someday that'll happen. And so I saw Doug Jones, a Democrat who's a Joe Biden wannabe, and I said, we need to get him out. And so I did, and we got him out. It's helped us get the majority. But my forte is like being a head football coach. You recruit good coaches, you bring people in, and you build something, and you win every day. You can't win every day here. I mean, it's a give and take. You can win as a governor as long as you got a game plan, you got people behind you, you sell it to the people of Alabama, and you understand what you're doing. And well, that's what we'll do for a year and a half now. We'll build a team around us. We'll prepare for that. We will make a game plan for the people of Alabama, from education to infrastructure to everything that's going on to make lives better for the people of Alabama. And that's if we win.
Obviously, you're a huge ally of President Trump. What were his thoughts when you made that decision?
He said, what? I just got you up here. And we talked about it, and I told him pretty much what I just told you. I said, Mr. President, here's the deal. I said, if you do what you're doing, you continue to win for the people of this country, in a year and a half, I can get you somebody up here that's going to support you. But I need to go back and take that power and the money that you're going to send back to the states and help my people of Alabama. I said, either you're going to have it going so great in a year and a half that you're not going to need me, or you're going to have it so screwed up that I'm going to want to get out here anyway. He laughed. He's only you would say that. And so, but he was supportive, and we talked about it quite a bit, and then we talked about it on the Air Force One going to Tuscaloosa a few weeks ago. And he's a good guy. He's a good man. He's up to his ears in alligators. My God, I can't imagine having the responsibility that he has of getting out of 3 wars, fighting China, closing our borders, getting the debt down, getting something done for the people of the country, and fighting rhinos and fighting the communist far left Democrats at the same time. It is, and again, if you saw what happened, the fungus that we found coming in from the from China, the anti-Semitism, the killing here in our country, and y'all know this. It's out of control. I mean, he has got his hands full, but thank God we have got somebody that really understands. Hey, we got the best country ever, and we're not going to change it because a bunch of power brokers in the Democratic Party want to take over this country and change it to Europe, which, by the way, Europe is gone. It's over with for them. Their immigration's killed them. They were trying to do the same thing to us with the open borders, but we got it. We got it closed, and thank God now we have a chance. It's not over, but we have a chance.
Yeah, I want to explore that. That dovetails nicely into what I was going to ask you. So many people around here, especially, were excited about the returns and the election of President Trump. But you need to reiterate, the election's over. The election was won, but the fight's not won yet, Senator.
Oh no. We're just now getting the gloves on, and we're finding more and more things out. Look at Comey, the Clintons, the money they stole. I mean, it's up here. It's like, oh, okay, it happened. Nobody really. I mean, it doesn't hit them upside the head going, they did what? No, it really hasn't dawned on people, and probably a lot of people in Alabama that, folks, they did COVID on purpose. It was on purpose. I'm on the help. I go through all these hearings, listening to all these experts saying, yes, it was released on purpose. It was done on purpose to change the world, not just the United States. And then you got all this vaccine nonsense where Robert Kennedy will tell you in a heartbeat that he's done all these studies with all these experts that it killed and is still killing people. And we all took it. And we're going, well, it really didn't happen to me, folks. It is. This is serious. We're in serious business right now with our country. And again, when you're being attacked by all the communists and the globalists and the climate changers and all the people outside our borders and within our borders, it's a fist fight. And President Trump's fighting every day. And again, thank God he's there, and he's put a great team around him. I tell you what, I know every one of them, and that's what's been fun, is to talk to them before they get after their nomination and help get them through. They believe in our country, and they know exactly what went on, and they know exactly what we got to do to get it back. But it is a slow process.
I know you had a lot to do with Title IX. I still am amazed that the transgender issue is still a topic. I was watching Fox News earlier this week. They had some high school events in the state of Oregon, transgenders all over the place. How in the world, in the United States of America in 2025, are we letting males compete against females? To me, that is just unbelievable.
No, it's not. No, it's that they're trying to change the mindset of people in this country. It's all like being brainwashed. I mean, they push it on you. They push this narrative, and they continue to push it, and they continue to push it. And you got all these blue states that are going along with this nonsense, these governors and these mayors, and you got one guy fighting back as President Trump that can actually do something, and they're fighting back against him. And again, it's something that a lot of people look at and will eventually probably say, if it continue on, well, that's not affecting me. It's going to affect women's sports forever if we don't stop this. Young girls are not going to get involved. It's unfair. It's unsafe, and it's a situation where if they think that they can continue to push this narrative on people, that it will become something that just, they did that. Let's just move on. No, we ain't moving on. We're going to get them out. It's ridiculous. And these young people and these parents that are allowing this to happen, they know they're wrong, and they know in the long run, we're going to stop it, but they're going to continue to fight. They fight because they don't have anything else other than to try to change the narrative of this country of gays, transphobics, uh, everything that goes along with their ideology, which fine, hey, I don't care what you do behind closed doors, but quit pushing it on our kids. It ain't going to happen. So we're going to continue to fight.
Senator Tommy Tuberville, let's talk a little bit more about sports. Do you suspect if you were a young Coach Tuberville just entering the head coaching profession now, that you would have enjoyed it as much as you did whenever you first got into the coaching profession back then?
Oh no, I've talked to friends and I've talked to young guys that I helped mentor to get into coaching, and it's a disaster. It's an absolute disaster. And the great thing about coaching was to watch kids grow and mature and take their abilities and use it to their fullest, or somebody that didn't have a lot of ability, change it and work so hard, which is what this country gives you, that opportunity to actually make something out of yourself through athletics. I've seen it over and over, and then bring people together as a team, whether black, white, red, green, rich, poor, Protestant, Catholic, atheist. It didn't make any difference. Put everybody together and you fight for a common cause. That doesn't happen anymore, folks. You've got, it's all about money. And this kind of reminds me of the Democratic Party just saying, hey, let's infiltrate some of the better things in this country. And they did. And I've always said this, the two most important things that our country has had over 250 years, and our birthday is next year, is a military which teaches discipline to our young people and teaches them to love our country, and sports, which brings people together of all areas, of all backgrounds, and you can be a success and you have a common goal. What have they done? They've tried to ruin our military. We're getting it back, and they're trying to ruin our sports. And we better open up and smell the roses and understand it ain't about money when it comes to college and high school sports. It is about learning life and being able to take what you learn there to the future of making yourself better and a better American.
If you're looking into your crystal ball, where are college athletics a year from now, 5 years from now?
I don't see it changing. I talked to President Trump about the commission. Matter of fact, that was kind of done on the plane to Tuscaloosa with President Trump, and he wants to help. Again, you got to look at the big picture here. Look at what he's trying to do. He's trying to stop 5,000 people a day from getting killed in Ukraine and Russia, and then he has to pivot back to, well, how do I help? Cut spending or close the border, and then how do I help save women's sports? How do I help save sports in general when it comes to this? I mean, the guy's got his hands full, so he's counting on us behind the scenes to help him. I'm helping as much as we can. The commission didn't quite work out because I think you had too many different opinions and would have been going different directions. I'm going to come up with something and give it to him, and maybe possibly just be able to do an executive order on something as simple as go back to the old rule on transfer. Yeah, you can transfer. You got to sit out a year. How about that? Now, if you want to pay somebody for 2 years and only get to play one, the court says they get to make money. Fine. Don't take the money away. But we got to put education and responsibility back on these kids at some point instead of allowing them to control the narrative. I'm all for them making money, but being able to just run college sports and high school sports in the ground, I'm not going to stand for that because I know how important it is for the future of our country.
Coach, there's a lot of buzz, a lot of rumors that President Trump doesn't sleep very much. Isn't that true? Does the guy only get 4 hours of sleep? What's the story up there inside the Beltway?
He's called me many times at 2 or 3 in the morning. Coach, what are you doing? I said, I'm sleeping. What are you doing? He says, well, I need to ask you about this or that. The guy's unbelievable. I mean, he's got some kind of gene in his body. He told me he sleeps 3 or 4 hours, goes to bed about 4 in the morning, sleeps 7, maybe 7:30, gets up, starts the day, never drank before in his life, never done drugs. The guy's a family man. And he's taken more errors and was tried to be assassinated twice. And of course, the Democrats, the only thing they regret is they missed. Because the guy is unbelievable. He loves the country. So yes, he is he's different. I mean, I can't do that. I got to get 6-7 hours sleep a night, or I'm useless the next day. Now I do, and I have for years gotten up at 5. Up here in DC, where I'm at now, I get up at 4 in the morning, and I read for a couple hours. I've never read so much in my life because of all these things that you have to be prepared for the next day, especially now with this big beautiful bill. You got to be on your toes, and you got to be able to react and make decisions along with your staff. But I like to be on top of it. So yeah, it's he's a different bird, but he's smart, and he's basically running the country himself with his advice from all the people behind him. But he has thought about this, and I told y'all this when I was the only senator with him for about 6 months, and I traveled with him. I played golf with him. He was making a plan all those times to run, and all of my friends up here and Republicans say, "He can't win, Coach. What are you doing? He can't win." I said, "Hey, I just got back from Tahoe with him at a rally. His rallies are twice as big as they were. Don't tell me he can't win." And sure enough, he won, and he's a special guy now. I mean, there's a lot of people don't like him because sometimes he's abrasive, but you have to be, when you're in that kind of scenario of command like he is.
Yeah, very well put. Well, Coach, I know your time is running short with us, but we always appreciate you spending time here with Longshore and McKnight. Look forward to seeing you soon. I'm going to be up in D.C. later this summer. If you're in town, I might drop by.
Well, come on by. Just be careful walking out on the streets. We've done a lot of good, but these streets are still taken over by a lot of people that don't go by the laws up here.
Yeah.
And so it's something that unfortunately President Trump's trying to. Like I said, he's got a lot of bows in his quiver, and or arrows, and he has got a lot of work to do. But I trust him. He's a guy that's focused. So hey, thanks guys
thank you
for doing what y'all doing, and grab a hold and hold on, because I mean we just started this ride, and this roller coaster ride is getting ready to be bumpy.
Appreciate you, Coach. Thanks very much.
Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. That's Senator Tommy Tuberville joining us here today. He seemed a little bit in a better mood today. We've had him at times, he was a little bit more abrasive, and he still was. I mean, don't get me wrong, but I think he's maybe in a better mindset now that Trump's back in the Oval Office, and he's going to be up there for about another year and a half, and he's hoping that he'll be the next governor of Alabama. So yeah, it seems to be heading in the right direction.
It's got to feel like he's feeling a little bit justified in some of the stands he's taken and some of the support that he's given, that the American people by and large think that they're all on the right track, and that's bound to be encouraging as well. We'll take a break right here. Senator Tuberville joins us from Washington a little bit later on. Jason Caldwell, AuburnUndercover.com, Rodney Ortider, Insider.com. In association with Yellowhammer News, it's Longshore and McKnight, presented by Bud Light.
Hey, Marianne from Marguerite's Exquisite Jewelry joining us here today. And June is really a fun time out at Marguerite's, Marianne. The birthstone, I believe, is pearls, and I know you've got a lot of pearls.
Yes, we got them right here. So exciting. Lots of pearls. It's Pearl Month. Yes.
It is Pearl Month, and Marguerite's has plenty of pearls for you to check out. Also, June's a big month for weddings. It's so wedding gifts, birth gift, push presents, I know are very popular as well. Tell us about some of those great ideas.
Sure. Well, guys, just so you're not caught off guard, there are certain expectations these days, or maybe not expectations. That sounds bad. But the person you love would definitely appreciate a gift for certain occasions, like a wedding gift, the wedding band, the engagement ring. Those are great, but just a little something that her maid of honor can hand her, and so she can unwrap it. It's a big picture situation. Write a sweet little letter, but we have those great gifts at Marguerite's, wedding day gifts. And ladies, if you're listening, we have great watches and cufflinks for guys too. But guys, come in, think about it. Great classic gifts, something that they can remember from their wedding day. Diamond studs, a tennis bracelet, pearl earrings, pearl studs, those types of things. Just really great gifts, as well as push presents, which if you're wife goes into labor or granddad's to be, if your daughter does, it's just a sweet gift to commemorate maybe their initial or their birthstone. We can help you. We have lots of great options in stock. And of course, we always can make it for you if you have something special in mind.
You know, that's a great point, Marianne. Lots of great options. And Marianne just laid them all out there for you, folks. There are so many great jewelry items, so many great gift items for you to check out there at Marguerite's Exquisite Jewelry. Let our viewers and listeners know, Marianne, where are you located there on Vaughn Road?
Sure. We're at 8163 Vaughn Road in the Pepper Tree Shopping Center. We're open 7 days a week. We are open 10 to 5:30 Monday through Friday, 10 to 5 on Saturday, and noon to 5 on Sunday.
It's a big month out at Marguerite's in June, so go by and see Marianne and all the staff at Marguerite's Exquisite Jewelry. Hey, Marianne, thank you so much.
Thanks.
All right, about 15 minutes to the top of the hour here on a Thursday. Make sure to check us out at Yellowhammer News and yellowhammernews.com for all of your news, politics, lifestyle, and sports. Longshore and McKnight in association with Yellowhammer News. You can check us out there every day, every afternoon. There's a write-up about the show, so check that out. We're also, of course, available on Facebook, YouTube, X, Instagram, Spotify, so many other platforms out there for you. Hit the like button. Hit the subscribe button. You will not miss a thing. Instant notifications when some content drops. You'll find it. You'll have it at Longshore and McKnight.
Well, we've got a lot still to get to. Again, our thanks. It's extraordinary to me how our Senator Tuberville is so accessible, especially to us and the people of Alabama. He's been coming on our show for years.
Yeah.
Even before he became a senator. Of course, he came, we had him on several times, of course, when he was the head football coach at Auburn. Every once in a while, when John went into the old football building and, he'd walk up the steps over there by the room that he thought was the Auburn Sports Hall of Fame or museum, the Auburn Museum,
Yep.
the Loveless Museum, which actually I had to point out, John, that's a men's room, man.
That took a wrong turn.
That's what threw me. Yeah.
Well, you're right. Yeah.
And you got and he'd walk up the stairs, and Jean, Coach Tuberville's secretary, would sit up straight in her chair, and she'd fluff her hair and make sure her lipstick was okay. It's like Moneypenny. John would walk in, Jean, how you doing? Maybe he'd, lean over on her desk and say, "My, that's a lovely dress you got on." Well, thank you, John. I'll make sure Coach Tuberville comes out in just a moment. So we used to. That's from way back when.
Yeah, you got to make sure you're in good with the secretary.
Yeah,
no doubt about it. I'm trying to think of the lady.
He was the.
It was Coach Stallings' secretary, and her name escapes me now, but I was in pretty good with her.
Are you telling me that a name has just left your memory bank? Yeah. But when he was the coach at Texas Tech, he would join us. He joined us when he was a coach at Cincinnati. Mm-hmm. And of course, now that he's been a United States Senator, I got to admit, I thought, well, that's all we're going to get from him. I mean, he's got much, much bigger fish to fry and everything. But no, he's been on with us straight as always. I've been impressed with that. And now he's coming back and
very much,
running for governor. Is there any opposition? Will there be any opposition? I hope so. Just because
there might be
democracy is supposed to work.
Yeah, I think there will some token opposition, kind of like when Shorty Price would always run every year. He put his name on the ballot, but he'd only get like 400 votes. But I'm sure somebody out there will run. You got to know somebody will try to do it. And we've talked about this before. I mean, obviously, I've never been in politics and don't plan on it. But I've always said, man, if I was in politics, I'd love to be a U.S. senator. Woo, man, that to me, that is the carte blanche there if you're a U.S. senator. But as he's mentioned, there's a lot of fighting. There's a lot of behind-the-scenes stuff that's got to get done. There's a lot of give and take.
Give and
take. And you're in there debating and arguing with people that you're looking across the aisle, and in your mind, you're probably going, "You're the biggest idiot. Why am I wasting my time blabbing with you, liberal, whatever. If you come home and run the state, you're not having to deal with as much of that, if any, so to speak. So, I mean, I get it. Living in DC might wear on you. My daughter loves it. But I don't know.
Yep. I missed.
Good for him.
I'm just glad that he gets a chance to visit with us and talk with us. And he's always been. If you don't want the truth, don't ask him a question, because he will flat tell you what he thinks.
But I did, I'm sure you've heard it as well, that Trump doesn't sleep. He sleeps like 4 hours a day, if that. And I can certainly hear, imagine Trump calling up Tuberville at 2 a.m. Like, why aren't you awake?
See,
what are you doing asleep?
I'm active, obviously we get up early and all that, but man, 4 hours of sleep, I wouldn't.
Yeah, I wouldn't be
able to make it.
Even though Trump does not drink or smoke and never has, I can't imagine those quarter pounders are very healthy. I know he likes the fast food.
Yeah. He does need to probably lose a few, but that's.
He was our biggest president. Was it Taft, or I think
Taft weighed about 310.
Yeah.
He was the president right after Theodore Roosevelt had to have a specially made bathtub installed in the White House because he went about 310. Lincoln was the tallest. Now, Trump is pretty tall. Trump is like 6'3".
Yeah.
And he probably weighs in the high 240s, 250, something like that. So. Could probably stand to lose a few. But
it's interesting, Barry. I saw a piece about the suits that President Trump wears, the way they're tailored. They are tailored in a way to maybe to make him look as big. If you ever see him when he's playing golf, he's got on a golf shirt and just a pair of trousers, he looks a little thicker in clothes like that than he does the suits that he wears.
I do like this about Tuberville. I consider myself a political moderate. I always have been. I'm moderate in just about everything, but tackling the tough stuff. There's some tough stuff going on there, and for somebody like Tuberville, whose legacy was already pretty well sunk. I mean, sooner or later, it might be this year, he's going to be in the College Football Hall of Fame. Trump has made more money than God's got, than Carter has little pills. But to be able to handle the tough questions and the tough issues, I have a lot of respect for just being able to do that. With that in mind, all right, here's the deal. The Braves.
Oh, transitioning into the Braves, huh?
Yeah, talking about dealing with tough issues. The Braves lose at home to the lowly Arizona Diamondbacks, who were in the World Series a couple of years ago, but they've got a losing record.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
4 words to you. The Braves can't hit. 3 hits yesterday.
Yeah.
They were getting no hit by Merrill Kelly.
Merrill Kelly
is actually pretty good. No relation to Carol Merrill. John always, anytime there's a name he's unfamiliar with, he'll try to come up.
How about our former producer Killer Kelly? They related?
Killer Kelly, yeah. Merrill Kelly had a no-hitter into the 6th against the Braves.
Wow.
Struck out 8, but they were only leading at, I think, 1-0 at the time.
Oh, okay.
2nd and 3rd for the Braves. It's a miracle. They had 2nd and 3rd, nobody out.
Tough.
Down 1. 2nd and 3rd, nobody out. Later in the game, could not score.
Oh,
not a run.
What do they call it? Couldn't push over a run, squeeze a run out.
Anything. So anyway, the Braves, they get no hit through 6. They end up with 3 big ones. 3 stinking hits. And
Barry, my first question would be
Arizona 2, Atlanta 1.
It's got to be somebody's fault. So who's the hitting coach? It's too early in the season to place it all on the manager. So I got to go hitting coach.
Yeah, it used to be Terry Pendleton. No, Leo Mazzoni is not the pitching coach for the Braves anymore. That's a long time. They've got hitters. Anyway, here's what the Braves play early today. The Braves play at 11:15.
Ooh, getaway game
morning today. 11:15 Central Time, 12:15 Atlanta time.
That is on Major League Baseball Network. I see here.
Yeah, it is.
MLB.
And, the Braves will enter this morning's baseball game. Well, okay, let's just call it like we see it. 3-game losing streak.
Ooh, wow. Ouch.
11 games off the pace in the National League East. They're now in fourth. 27.
So Barry, how about this
33.
scenario? Yeah. Let me paint this little scenario for you. So they play early today, as you mentioned. First pitch at 11:15.
Correct.
Game should be over by 2:00.
2:50,
maybe a little earlier,
something like that.
2:30. They'll shower up, clean up, pack up, and head straight to Hartsfield-Jackson Airport, where their charter plane will be waiting for them to fly clear across the country to San Francisco, about a 4-hour and 25-minute flight. There could be a lot of reflection on that flight, particularly if they lose today and they're flying across country and they're about, I don't know, say over Nebraska or Kansas, and they're going, man, we suck. What is going on with us? Our hitting is abysmal. What is happening? Maybe they'll find that moment at 37,000 feet and turn it around before they start this series with the Giants. How's that sound?
Doesn't sound good to Daniel. Daniel was at that game last night, sitting near third base.
Ooh.
Hey, all right. That's pretty good. Sitting on third base. Wasn't a whole lot going on over there. You know, that was a part of the field, at least for Braves fans, where it was pretty quiet over there around third base. Braves had all the momentum in the eighth and still couldn't get the run they needed. It was worse watching it in person. Braves needed help, got to make changes.
Wait a minute
from the top down.
Look, don't hit the panic button, you 4 Braves fans out there. And maybe there's more. Maybe there's more. Who knows? But let's don't hit the panic button just yet. I mean, we're not even to the All-Star break. That's kind of my measuring stick. I use that all the time. Let's get to the All-Star break. Then we can kind of start looking at this a little closer.
We're just kind of positioning that as a measuring stick, but it's like, is it only the All-Star break? We're only halfway through? Well, let's take a break right here.
Hey, speaking of that, Barry, is the All-Star game in Atlanta this year? Because I see Gurn Sr.'s trying to work some sweet tickets for us over there to the game during media days.
But man, if that's, when we are, it is going to be in Atlanta.
Yeah.
And I don't think there's any way he's going to be able to get us tickets.
I don't know. This guy's pretty creative. He's found tickets before. And I see you, Terrence. We touched on the NHL. We'll touch on that a little bit more with the Panthers and the Oilers in the Stanley Cup Finals.
Yeah, Panthers fall yesterday to the Oilers in overtime, 4-3. Oilers win the first game. I'm kind of rooting for the Oilers, to be honest with you. My buddy Gary Gallant, he's no Oiler fan and everything, but he's Canadian. He wants at least a Canadian.
Well, it kind of reminds me of the old NFL when we had the Houston Oilers.
Yeah.
I never liked their uniforms. I thought their logo on the helmet, I know it was an oil rig, but it didn't do much for me.
I liked it. That was good. Let's take a break. When we come back, Rodney Ord, tighter. Is it Rodney coming up or is it Jason?
That's right. Yeah, Rodney at top and then Jason at the bottom of hour number 2 today. Jason was nice enough to make room for the Senator.
In association with Yellowhammer News, it's Longshore and McKnight, presented by Bud Light.
Why Hands? At Hands Heating and Air, you get this area's highest ranked service provider with 24-hour repair service, no overtime charges, and their same-day service guarantee. Plus, instead of other companies' 30-day repair warranty, Hands gives you a 3-year repair warranty. Hands Heating and Air is here for you 24/7, 365. And service is not just something they do, it's their way of operating, for you in mind. All of Hands employees are trained to adhere to this standard. They work hard to ensure that this standard is maintained, and they are constantly looking for new ways to better serve you. Call Hands Heating and Air today at 508-5382. That's 508-5382, or find them on the web at 834hands.com.
The Bush Guide, cold and smooth survival skills. For a successful stint in the great outdoors, pack accordingly. Place heavy essentials near your spine for stability in rough terrain, with light items near the bottom. Now, you may be wondering, where does the Bush Light go? In your stomach. Bush. Head for the mountains. Enjoy responsibly. Copyright 2023, Anheuser-Busch, Bush Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
The Destin Connection Seafood Market offers the freshest seafood direct from the Gulf of Mexico with deliveries daily. Snapper, grouper, pompano, flounder, copia, along with medium, large, and jumbo shrimp, hand-picked crab meat, and chucked oysters. They can even cook your order for easy, quick pickup. The Destin Connection can make a po' boy with any of their seafood items that folks in New Orleans rave about. Go by and see them at 3750 Norman Bridge Road or call 288-4272 for pickup orders.
All righty, here we are back at it, top of the hour. Rodney Orr, the Tider Insider, joining us momentarily. Brought to you exclusively by the Destin Connection Seafood Market, your crawfish headquarters. Plenty of live crawfish, spicy boiled crawfish. Go by and pick yours up for this weekend, 288-4272. You can call ahead. Your order will be ready for pickup, or just go by 3750 Norman Bridge Road, the Destin Connection Seafood Market, the freshest seafood direct from the Gulf. I went to one of Montgomery's fine restaurants last night and had a piece of triple tail that came from the Destin Connection because I asked the owner about it, and it was fantastic. It was delicious. And does Destin Connection have crawfish etouffee? You know, I believe they do, Theotis. As a matter of fact, I believe they do. But I'll ask Range Pro about that and to make sure. Or you can just make it yourself. Oh, it's awesome.
I haven't heard of that one. But
it's awesome. Yeah,
very good. If it's swimming and it's good, they've got it, and they've got it fresh at the Destin Connection Seafood Market. You can call ahead, John.
Yeah, 288-4272. Particularly, you know, my Saturday at go-to for lunch is the grilled grouper po' boy. Call ahead. Range Pro's got it ready for me, and it's awesome. So, no, they don't have eel, Theotis.
Gross.
I do not believe they have eel.
What the heck question is that, Theo?
Yeah,
eel?
Nah. Can you eat an eel? Nah. Hey, Rodney Orr, the Tider Insider, joining us here today. Brought to you, as I mentioned, by the Destin Connection Seafood Market. Hey, Rodney, how you doing?
I'm doing well, guys. How about the both of you?
Doing pretty well. We were talking a little bit off the cuff yesterday on the show, Rodney, and we were promoting, as we always do on Wednesday, the fact that we'll get a chance to visit with you on the Thursday show. And I mentioned that I saw something, I guess it was social media, where you and Gary Harris, I imagine it had to be kind of an honor. You guys were guests at a reunion of some old Alabama defensive backs this week.
Wow, Barry, you really do look around, don't you?
Is that true? Because I mean, I saw the pictures and stuff, and I'm trying to pick out, you know, some of the guys. They're a little bit different looking. It all seemed like a great time, though.
No, Barry, it was John, it was an incredible time. Actually, Tommy Wilcox, of course, former two-time All-American safety. He lives here in Tuscaloosa. I see Tommy, you know, 3 or 4 days a week, and fortunately, he invited me to this event, and it was a reunion for former Alabama defensive backs coach, secondary coach Lewis Campbell, who was here in the mid 70s, and then came back in the right after Bill Oliver left in 79. It's been a few years, so it was for Coach Campbell and all of the defensive backs that played for him. And I think there was like 34 that showed up, 34 defensive backs. And yeah, to say they look a little different, I mean, don't we all? But I mean, to say they weren't quite in the shape they were in, 40 years ago. yeah, it was kind of, but I had some great conversations with several of the guys. Mike Clements, who was a sophomore corner on the 78 national championship team. We had a long discussion about his first start was that game against Penn State on the goal line stand.
Whoa!
And there were some injuries, some things that had happened, and he had a great story about, as you're going through that year, you don't think you're going to get to play, but you keep preparing, and then finally he just said to himself one day, he said, I'm not even going to concern myself with playing. I'm just going to just go out there and let it all hang out. Said he started having practices that were off the charts. And the next thing he knew, he's in a position to start in that national championship game. And he's on the cover of Sports Illustrated, part of that goal line stand.
Oh, wow. Speaking of that, when you mentioned that, I just had to jump down the list of questions I wrote for today because I thought about this earlier in the week. Barry and I, somehow the goal line stand came up earlier this week. You know, Rodney, what I think people forget about that game is obviously the goal line stand was incredible. Penn State down there, goal to go, first down, whatever, don't score. But what they forget is Alabama gets the ball back inside the one, and those next couple of 3 plays were they were nerve-wracking.
Well, and Woody Humphrey shanked the punt, if I remember. When he shanked the punt. So Penn State actually had good field position. So Alabama had to hold them again. I mean, it wasn't a goal line stand, but it was a great performance there. But one quick thing before Don McNeil, who was not there, he could not make it. If you remember, John and Barry, we talk about what happened on 3rd and 4th down. Yep. When Penn State was at the 1 and they tried to dive over the top.
Right.
But on 3rd down, they had a completion down near the goal line to Scott Fitzke. All he had to do was reach the ball over the goal line or fall down, and it's a touchdown. Some reason he takes a couple of steps parallel to the goal line, and Don McNeil comes rushing up and rides him out of bounds. That was the play of the game.
That was no doubt about it.
I remember that well.
If the guy puts a foot in the ground and turns north,
he's got to do.
Yeah, it's that easy. And McNeil went on to have a great NFL career, I believe, with the Dolphins.
Yep.
He did.
Sure did. Gosh, I can imagine it. I'm thinking about it now, what it must have been like there. And I've been on, events like that, and John has as well. Those are guys who played for room and board and scholarships, and sometimes they'd pull their change together and maybe just haul off and buy a pizza one evening and just have a bull session.
It's funny you say that, because one of the players was talking about that to me that I was having a discussion with. I don't remember exactly which one at this point, but he was just saying, Coach Bryant told me, he said, I'd like to give you some ice cream money, but I can't. Think about that.
Yeah.
I mean, now guys want $2 million a year.
Rodney, who was the oldest and youngest defensive back that were there?
Oh, wow. It's a good question. I think Ricky Davis was there, and he played in the mid-70s. So he would have been one of the older ones.
Right.
The youngest, Freddie Robinson was there from Mobile, who played for Coach when Perkins was here, played for Lewis Campbell when Perkins was here. So Kermit Kendrick was there, the former All-American safety.
Yeah.
So those two guys would probably be among the youngest. Sammy Hood was another player out of Ider, Alabama, who played when Perkins was here, played for Coach Bryant, then Perkins, that transition. Yeah, that was probably those guys. Now, few couldn't make it. Jeremiah Castile could not make it, and neither could Don McNeil. And Murray Legg, of course, was a great safety. So some of those guys could not make it, but it was a great event.
Well, let's talk about another event that I know a lot of people are anxious to hear about. This past weekend, official visits for the football team, and this upcoming weekend. Pretty doggone important as well. Am I right, Rodney?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. They had a really good first weekend, and then now, of course, this is the second big weekend. They've got a few more coming up over the next couple of weeks, but it's a big weekend coming up. I mean, obviously, you've got you've got some more of your top prospects coming in this weekend, and Matt Ponatoski is a quarterback who might be worth keeping an eye on. They had a quarterback last week come in from Nebraska, Jet Tamala from
Yeah,
Omaha.
you told us about him. Yeah.
Yeah, he had a really good visit. Now he's going back to Iowa State this weekend to where he's committed. And then I think he's going to take a few days to kind of make a determination. Does he want to stick with Iowa State, or does he want to really consider this Alabama offer, to a greater degree? And then Ponatoski is a great story. He's from the legendary Moeller High School up there in Cincinnati.
Yeah. Cincinnati, yeah.
Yeah, and he was the Gatorade High School Player of the Year as a football and baseball player this year in Ohio. So with that said, you got to wonder a little bit now. He's a top 25, top 30 baseball prospect right now for next year. That's a guy that you say, okay, what if we sign him and he ends up Major League Baseball, pro baseball? So that's a consideration. But obviously, you've got some guys coming in that are committed to you this weekend. Jordan Edmonds is the number one corner out of Marietta, Georgia, who is committed. And then you've got some Cam Johnson out of Muscle Shoals, a defensive lineman that's committed. You've got Jamarian Matthews, who is originally from Madison Sparkman up in North Alabama. He's transferred over to Gainesville, Georgia, for this season. He is a linebacker, defensive end type guy. He's committed. He's coming in. But with that said, his new teammate, Xavier Griffin, the number one linebacker in the country out of Gainesville, Georgia, will be here, on a visit. That's really big because Alabama's trying to nail him down. He is a guy that was originally committed a long time to USC. He was at Ohio State last weekend. I forget, he's got somebody else coming up after this Alabama visit, but off the top of my head, I just totally went blank. But he is a top-notch linebacker, obviously, so he'll be a key target. And then Sam Utu, who is an offensive lineman. They had 3 really good offensive linemen come in this past weekend. But Utu is from Orange, California. And, Alabama's strongly in the mix there. So overall, it's a really good class, maybe not quite as big in terms of numbers as the last weekend.
Rodney, earlier this week, we were obviously talking Alabama football along with other schools as well. Something came out, the FPI rating index, football power index, I believe it is. And Alabama was rated extremely high, higher than I would have imagined. I think third or fourth out of this poll. So big things. I was talking to somebody over the weekend that has really good knowledge of what is going on inside the football building. Talked about what the wide receiver room, the offensive line, quarterback room. The sense is there's a lot of confidence in those position groups. Running back, not so much. Who's the alpha dog in the running back room?
Yeah. Well, Jam Miller is back. He started last year and he's played a lot over the last few years. And so we'll see. I mean, Jam certainly has the experience. He's had some good moments. But now I will say this about the running backs, and there does not appear to be a great running back in the group right now. As you look at them, could one emerge? Possibly, but I would say this, that they will get more opportunities this year with not having a quarterback who is carrying the ball as much as Milroe did at times last year. So it'll be more of a traditional running game for those guys. Jam Miller, Richard Young is a redshirt sophomore who was a 5-star player coming out of Lehigh Acres, Florida a few years ago. He showed some flashes last year. He's a real power guy. The guy, maybe one guy to watch that I was told that the offensive staff really believes has a chance to challenge Jam Miller for some carries is Daniel Hill. He's a 240-pound sledgehammer from Meridian, Mississippi. And he broke a lot of tackles in spring. And I think that's the one area that they want to see more from their running backs is breaking tackles, making a guy miss here and there. Kevin Riley is a young player out of here in Tuscaloosa at County High. It's got a burst. He's got a real burst of speed. I thought Dre Washington, the transfer from down there in Louisiana, was going to be a guy who made a splash in the spring, but he really didn't. But he's a 5'9", 220-pounder with, I mean, he's got a burst. You watch his highlights from,
Louisiana. Yeah, I've seen him play. He's one of those guys that can start quick. I mean, he gets full speed fast.
He's got a burst, and he's a powerful guy. And then A.K. Deer, the freshman. A lot of people, John and Barry, ask about A.K. Deer because he was so highly recruited. If we're just talking today, I don't see him necessarily challenging this year or, at least the early half of this year.
I guess, and maybe Jam Miller's the guy, and maybe this isn't fair, but do you sense, Rodney, that there's a running back in that room of the caliber of some of the running backs they've had in the past? I mean, Derrick Henry, I don't think you could have another guy like him. But maybe some of the others that were there during the Stallings era.
No,
the Saban era, excuse me.
No, I don't, John. I don't. Here's the thing, too. Again, you never know when a guy, because like a Kevin Riley or, a young player that hasn't gotten a lot of, until they get the ball a few times enough, it sometimes a guy bursts on the scene and you're like, okay, well, wait a minute now. He's a little better than we thought. So that could certainly happen. Right now, as we sit here today, I don't see that. There was a time when Alabama had Derrick Henry, Kenyon Drake. They had some younger backs with those guys. Henry was actually one of those younger players. It was Tyron Jones and Alvin Kamara, and they had Tenpenny.
Yeah. Well, I was thinking of Josh Jacobs. I mean, nobody knew who this guy was.
All of those guys would be easily the alpha in this group.
Yeah.
In this group.
That's a good perspective. Let me ask you about somebody else. We talked about him briefly earlier this week with all of the questions that people have at this time of the year. Somebody was telling me that they feel strong. I know it was a strong year last year for the safety, Bray Hubbard at Alabama. Really kind of grew into a role. Buddy of mine is absolutely insistent, Rodney, that Bray Hubbard is going to be a star. Do you see it?
Well, there's a lot of people that he's getting a lot of recognition. There's no doubt. I mean, there's even some people touting him as one of the top 3 or 4 returning safeties, and really only played, maybe the last half of the year after the Tennessee game. But he did a tremendous, he did a tremendous job. Now John and Barry, he's a great story. He was going to Southern Miss to play baseball, and because he's a great athlete. And he came up here to Alabama's camp and ran a 4.40, and Nick Saban called him in his office and said, "You can play for us." And it all changed for him. And now you see what's happening. But he had a great, like you said, second half of the season there. So and I think Barry, that you mentioned the safeties,
right?
You got Keon Sabb coming back, and I tell you another player to watch out for, Zay Mincy, who was a true freshman last year, started out as a corner, played some early. They moved him to safety. He's 6'3", and he started the Michigan game. The bowl game had 7 tackles in that game. Zay Mincy is a really talented kid, and they've got the true freshman, Ivan Taylor, who was highly recruited. So they've got a group. That secondary is overall really impressive with the depth they have. And one other thing, just real quick. We saw last year, they're not afraid to play all of them. They rotate them in. They may play the starters the first couple of series, and they'll put in backup corners. It looks like they potentially could have, and I'm not saying all of them are going to play,
right? But
potentially 6 corners that they feel good about.
That sounds kind of like the Saban, with all those DBs rotating in there.
I was under the impression that a lot of those guys had to play just because they had to play. They had some injuries and stuff. No,
there was some stuff.
Those guys can play.
I think John and Barry, listen, I think this is one thing about DeBoer that I think is really a good fit for this time is they're going to rotate players in. whether it's linebackers, defensive linemen, safeties, corners. You remember Saban he waited until the game was out of hand, and then he plug in some guys. That's not the way you can do it anymore. I think you've got to get guys on the field to kind of keep them. Hey, I like being here, but if I'm not playing, I'm not playing.
Right.
If you're playing, though, you're like, okay, hey, I'm still very much in the mix here. I love it here, whatever. Yeah. I mean, it keeps guys kind of in tune. So I think you're going to continue to see that.
Back to the running backs real quick. With Ryan Grubb running the offense, is that an indicator that maybe the running game won't be emphasized as much? We heard about the lack of a running game with the Seahawks. I don't know if that transitions to the college game, but with so many talented wide receivers, do you see that maybe taking more of the offensive game plan over the running game?
Well, I think that they want to be explosive throwing the football. There's no doubt. They want to utilize all of the weapons. I think, John, off the top of my head, in 2023, I think they had one wide receiver had over 90 catches, Rome Odunze. Mm-hmm. All right. They had like 4 or 5 total, including the tight end, that had at least mid-40s. So they want to distribute the ball in the passing game, but they also had a 1,250-yard rusher.
Yes.
And, so they ran the football. And I think he knows Grubb wants to run the football, and I think he has an understanding that the SEC, you've got to be able to run the football. And he's mentioned, look, we know that we've got to be able to do that. We've got to be able to finish games running the football. We've got to be able to do things required. And don't forget this too, because I've heard that question a lot, John. There's a lot of people that said, oh, well, he's going to come in here and we're not really going to have a great run game. Well, I'll say this, don't forget, he was like Nick Saban's first choice a few years ago when they were looking for an offensive coordinator. So there was a reason why Saban had him on his radar. And Saban's not going to abandon the run game.
No, not at all. Barry, where else are you going to get a Woody Humphrey reference on the 5th of June in 2025? How about that?
Okay, John Barry, I got a trivia question for you, Barry. Oh. You're really good about looking this stuff up.
Okay.
You mentioned Woody Humphrey.
Yes.
Do you guys know where he was from?
I want to say is he from South Florida somewhere?
Fort Walton Beach, maybe?
Barry, you might look it up. I think now I'm going on this because
I know he was left-footed. He
was left-footed. I wrote when I was 16 years old in high school, I wrote out the 1976 roster. Okay. And I'm going by memory on this. I think he was from someplace called Bourbonnais, Illinois.
That's exactly right. I'm looking it up right now. Bourbonnais, Illinois. I never heard that before in my whole life. Yes.
Yeah. Rodney, Coach Bryant could get some kickers and punters from far away places. I believe Peter Kim was from Hawaii.
Honolulu. Yeah.
He was from Hawaii and started out at Hawaii.
Yeah.
And I will tell you this. Alabama's starting right tackle this year, Wilkin Formby. A lot of people don't know this. His grandfather, Rod Wilkin, was an All-American junior college punter in Kansas. That's how he got down here. So Coach Bryant recruited Rod here in the 60s.
All right.
And now he's a very successful businessman. John, Barry, I know you come up here, John, quite a bit. He owns all the Taco Casas up here.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
Oh, you talk about printing money, John.
Number 3? You kidding me? The Sancho?
Just cranking out the dollar bills.
So I can't figure it out, Rodney. What is it about Taco Casa? I mean, it blows away all the other ones, and I cannot put my finger on it, but there's something about it. The sauce is phenomenal.
Yeah.
My son wears a Taco Casa t-shirt all the time. It's unbelievable.
Yeah. Hey,
well,
Rod Wilkin
I know Rod really, really well, Rod Wilkin. And I know he would greatly appreciate this plug. So,
can we get one in Montgomery? I'd love a Taco Casa in Montgomery.
I will mention that.
Yes, please do.
Rodney or TighterInsider.com, brought to you on our show by the Destin Connection Seafood Market. It's a busy time, even though it is, not academically. There's summer sessions later on, but you've got a lot going on. How do people access all of the coverage and all of the conversation at Tighter Insider?
Well, it's TighterInsider.com. It's only $48 a year. And you can get instant access with your credit card. If you prefer, there is an address there to send a check, and that gives you all our premium information. But also, and we have a complete rundown of the visitors, by the way. And then also our All Sports Forum. Hey, we did a lot of discussion last night, John and Barry, about Fran leaving and all of the stuff that happened during that time. It's on the board. You go check that out. I had a lot of posts on there about that. Assistant coaches giving me information on Fran leaving and all of that. So anyway, sometimes we get into those old discussions there on the
next
board
week.
Well.
Yeah. We can talk about Fran and Kim's Corner on the website. Yeah. Oh, man, I love that. Before we let you go, Rodney, I got to throw this one out you. Our listeners and viewers talking about the international kicker. Somebody says, what about Paul Trod? He was from England.
Paul Trod, yes. And, Paul Trod was Terry Sanders was actually a highly recruited kicker who kicked the field goal that won the Mississippi State game in 81. But here's what I'm getting to. He kicked the line drive. And I think Coach Bryant was a little leery. So they go up to Penn State the next week. John, this was the 3-14 game. This was the game that tied Amos Alonzo Stagg. And Paul Trod was the kicker in the 81 game that Coach Bryant won his 314th to tie Amos Alonzo Stagg.
From England. Wow. Did not know that.
Yes.
Thanks to one of our viewers bringing that to our attention before Rodney had to sneak out. Rodney, we could do it all day. Coach Fran, next week, get ready. We'll touch on that a little bit amongst other stuff. Rodney Orr, the Tighter Insider. Check him out, TighterInsider.com. Brought to you exclusively by the Destin Connection Seafood Market. Rodney, thank you so much.
All right, guys. Appreciate it. Take care.
Thank you.
Bernese, Illinois. Woody Humphrey.
Paul Trod. I'm thinking, I've heard of that guy, but man, that's really going into the archives.
Destin Connection Seafood Market as you go into this weekend, or really anytime during the summer. That's one of their specialities, is taking care of all of your summer parties, all of your summer needs and stuff. Oh,
yes, sir.
So many of the
it's
local
the best, the freshest seafood direct from the Gulf of America. Telling you folks, go out there, anything you're going to need: snapper, grouper, flounder, fresh oysters, crab meat, shrimp, medium, large, jumbo, crawfish. I could go on and on. It is all outstanding at the Destin Connection Seafood Market, 3750 Norman Bridge Road, or call ahead for your order. It'll be ready for pickup, 288-4272.
And they're running a special. If you go to Destin Connection and you ask Range Pro, hey, man, you got a thought on the U.S. Open? Then you might get a pick on the U.S. Open.
Well, I want to say it's a little early for that. Next week, no doubt. He will have a U.S. Open pick next, several picks, no doubt.
What, the Canadian Open this
I believe so.
Week. So anyway.
When we come back, Barry, it's the Phantom's Daily Dog. We'll do that. Jason Caldwell, of course, will join us as well in a few minutes. And Kern Jr.'s Victorland 777 topic wheel. Chris, get ready. That is yet to come as well.
As always, and I've been used to this for years, this time on Thursdays, we got to catch up. Running a little bit late, but we are back with more in a moment. In association with Yellowhammer News, it's Longshore and McKnight, presented by Bud Light.
Known by avid golfers as one of the most beautiful and challenging stops on the Robert Trent Jones Golf Trail, Cambrian Ridge in Greenville lies just 40 miles from Montgomery. It is well worth the ride for any golfer looking for 27 holes of jaw-dropping golf. The greens have been redesigned to accommodate the higher green speeds associated with their installation of the latest generation of Ultra Dwarf Bermuda grass. Cambrian Ridge offers a fully stocked pro shop with all the latest equipment and apparel. Great food and beverages in the clubhouse can be enjoyed both before and after your round. Get your group together and hit the trail. Go to rtjgolf.com/Cambrian Ridge for tee times and more information.
All right, man, grab a Budweiser and take a knee. It is the best time of the year. It's baseball season. That means sunshine. It means behind-the-back peanut tosses. And it means sharing some cold, frosty Budweisers with your boys. Because there's nothing more American than watching America's game with America's beer. So let me ask you something. Are you ready to bring your A game? Are you ready to cheer every frozen rope down the line and amazing catch at the warning track? Are you ready for pitchers' duels and slugfests? Tell me, are you ready for the thrill of an incredible walk-off victory? I can't hear you. Are you ready for Budweiser and baseball? Then get on your feet, raise an ice-cold Bud, and let's make this season larger than life. Great times are waiting. Grab some Bud!
Enjoy responsibly. Budweiser Beer, Anheuser-Busch, St. Louis, Missouri.
Phoenix Physical Therapy is ready to help patients recover, recharge, and rise. They develop a customized therapy plan for each patient to get them back to enjoying their favorite activities. Their experienced team is committed to providing exceptional care in a professional environment. Whether you're looking to prevent or treat an injury, recover from a recent illness, or recuperate from surgery, schedule an appointment with our clinic and take advantage of our physical therapy, athletic training, workers' comp, and employer solutions service. Experience elevated physical therapy today. Call Phoenix Physical Therapy at 239-9316. That's 239-9316.
Okay, back at it here, bottom of the hour on a Thursday. Jason Caldwell going to join us here in just a second, but I'm going to give you the Phantoms Daily Dog. Barry, I don't know if you got the box score from last night's Cubs-Nats game in the nation's capital. We had the Nationals plus 120, and I believe they won the game, as we told you they would, 2-0. Don't know if it was ever, in jeopardy. I don't know when they got those 2 runs across the plate, but all I know is they scored more runs than the Cubs, and the Phantom has a winner with the Nats over the Cubs yesterday. Barry's got to turn his mic on. Yep. Got your mic on? Do I hear you? No, not yet.
I don't know.
Oh, there you go. There you go.
Yeah, but it was muted. Mackenzie Gore, 7 scoreless innings, battle of left-handers.
Okay.
Threw a little shutout. He goes to 3-5 on the season, and the Phantom goes to like an ungodly stretch continuing here on the Phantom's Daily Dog.
So tonight, should I stay with Major League Baseball, Barry, or should I stick my toe in the NBA waters?
If you go, it will be trouble, but if you stay, it could be
double. But we had a really, really good run in NBA postseason basketball.
Here he goes.
Really good. We're going back to the association, Barry. Game 1 of the NBA Finals is tonight from Oklahoma City. It's the Pacers at the Thunder. I know this young Thunder team, a lot of athletic ability. They can play. Don't get me wrong. I'm with you. I think they can too. But I'm impressed with this Indiana Pacer squad as well. They might not win the game tonight, Barry, which is okay, but they're going to cover the 9.5. We like Indiana plus the 9.5. I know they're on the road. Game 1. Don't see a blowout here early. Taking Indiana plus the 9.5 tonight in Game 1 of the NBA Finals. That is the Phantom's Daily Dog for today.
There you go. Jason Caldwell joins us. He's from AuburnUndercover.com. Jason, how are we doing?
Good. How are y'all?
Doing really well. I can't imagine how busy you are these days. First of all, let's wrap this up. The regionals. Auburn wins the regional. Never trailed. Always, it seems as though people would think that, none of the games were in doubt. There were a couple of them that were really hotly contested. And I was impressed by the freshmen. I knew about Irish. I've seen Cooper McMurray. But, man, some of those freshmen, they don't look like freshmen to me, Jason.
No, and they've been doing it all year.
Since they got on campus.
Yeah, you look at Chris Rembert. Chris Rembert was really the one in the fall that kind of jumped out there. He had a huge series, and they played Florida State, down in Pensacola, that, for their kind of that squad game they play in the fall. He had a huge weekend that weekend, and he just continued to hit. Chase Fralick I think Chase Fralick was the fewest strikeouts of anybody on the team in the fall. So for a freshman to come in there and not strike out very much was big. And Bub Terrell's a guy that they knew had this immense amount of talent. And you look, and it's been Fralick and Rembert all year, and Bub has just continued to steadily come on, and obviously had a monster weekend last weekend in a regional. And then, Andres Alvarez, Christian Chatterton, those guys on the mound have been big this season. So, yeah, I mean, look, you got 5 freshmen. Jackson Sanders is a lefty freshman that has pitched some early in the year. Hasn't pitched as much lately, but I think has a bright future. Connor Gatwood, we didn't even see this season, who was the top-rated guy out of the entire class, a pitcher that's had a couple of years of injuries. They knew this freshman class was going to be good, but to see what they've been able to do in this league and to stay there has been pretty impressive to watch.
And I asked you this last week, maybe the last couple of weeks, Jason. To me, I'm just blown away how this baseball team has made such a huge turnaround in a year. And maybe that just is what's going on with intercollegiate athletics these days. There's a lot of changing in roster movement and whatnot. You, of course, talked about all these freshmen. But I remember where this team was this time last year compared to where they are today. To me, is remarkable.
Yeah, and I think one of the keys is that it only takes a few things. Last year, their record in one-run games wasn't very good at all. This year, they've been able to win close games. So that's the first step right there. Then you add a few key players. Obviously, Sam Dutton on the mound has been a big deal. Ryan Hetzler on the back end of games, the guy that came in, and he was a closer at Cal Baptist, and they're like, well, we'll see what his role is for this team. And he's turned out to be the closer for this team too. So those have been big pieces, but it's been freshmen. And Butch Thompson said it the other night, and I thought it was really insightful into his character, not just to him as a coach, but he said, look, they decided to do what was best for Auburn, not what was best for themselves. What was best for themselves would have been to go bring in a bunch of transfers and go, hey, we're just going to win right now. Don't worry about it. Well, they brought in freshmen to go, hey, look, we want to do what's best for Auburn for the long-term health of the program. Well, it wound up being what was best for this year too, because those freshmen were that good. But instead of going quick fix, let's just put a Band-Aid on it and then go to the next year, they decided, no, we're going to continue to do what we've been doing, which is build high school, continue to do that. And it's paid off. And now you look at it and go, the portal open Monday. There's teams that are in the super regional that are not only adding portal pieces already, but are losing players to the portal, which is mind-blowing to me.
Crazy.
LSU's had 2 of their highest-rated signees that are in the portal right now as they're preparing for a super regional. Tennessee's announcing commitments. Auburn is recruiting guys in the portal right now because you have to. But I don't think they have any interest in making a bunch of splash additions and announcements right now because I think they're focused on this team. And I think that's probably part of the reason why they are where they are right now is because they said, look, hey, you're our guys, let's go. And they kind of found out a way.
You talk about Butch Thompson being perceptive in his comments about, doing what's best for Auburn instead of themselves. I thought it was perceptive by you to be able to focus and write a piece. And I thought was, number one, it was well written, but number two, it was well conceived about the impact Eric Snow has had on this team.
Yeah, it's been huge. And it'll be big this weekend too.
He's done everything they needed.
He's done everything for this team. And, you look at it and, they've had really 4 guys to play second, third, short. So you go 4-man rotation to play those 3 positions. Eric Guevara early on in the season had a hamstring issue. So Snow slid in and played third base. Derek Fabian struggled a little bit at times. So Snow slid in and played shortstop some. And obviously Chris Rembert at times when Bub wasn't swinging the bat as well, they put Chris Rembert in the outfield against left-handed pitching to give them another right-handed bat on the field. Well, now you look up and Eric Guevara's dealing with a sprained knee that he suffered last week in the regional. Eric Snow's probably going to be back at third base this weekend, but he swung the bat well. He's batting over 300, 7 home runs. These are the types of guys that you have to win, because you need guys that you go, well, where do we need a guy today? Here's where he goes. And so he goes and plays and never says a word. He just goes out and does his job.
What about Auburn's competition this weekend?
Yeah, the hottest team in the country. There's no doubt about that. 21-game winning streak for Coastal Carolina. They're 51-11 overall. And it's really unique because they're not a Bash Brother type team. I mean, they have some home runs, but I think it's in the 40s.
Right.
But they get on base. A lot of times here's what Auburn played Kentucky this year. This team reminds me a whole lot of Kentucky, except their pitching is better. They get hit by a bunch of pitches. They steal bases. They kind of create chaos on the base paths. That's kind of how they want to play. But their pitching's been really outstanding. And so they come into this regional with the number 2 team ERA in the country at 3.22. Now they have 4 right-handers that are probably their top 4 guys. They do have a lefty reliever that's pretty good too, but out of their top 5 pitchers, 4 of those guys are right-handers. That'll be a change for Auburn, because usually everybody they play this season, if they have a lefty that can breathe, that's who throws against Auburn because of all the left-handed at bats. But Coastal's going to be right-handed dominantly on the mound. And so see what the matchup is. I know this. And I think Auburn feels this too. I think they feel like the underdog this weekend from a perception standpoint. A lot of people last weekend picked either Stetson or NC State to come to Auburn and win last weekend. I think a lot of people are going to pick Coastal Carolina to come in this weekend and win too. Well, I think the Auburn players feel like, hey, we feel like they're making us the underdog at home, and that's probably a pretty good spot to be in.
Pretty good chip to have on your shoulder for sure. Coastal Carolina lost 1 series all year long, and that was an absolute war at Troy very early in the season. Also, this is something, I don't know, for the Auburn fans who watch us specifically because Jason is on, I can tell you this. They ain't coming in with stars in their eyes. I mean, they're a national championship program. Whatever happens at Plainsman Park, negatively for Coastal Carolina, it's not because the moment's going to be too big for them, Jason.
No, and this is the thing. It is the first Super since they won that national championship, which I thought was really interesting. I thought, but they've been a bunch. They've won twice against Clemson this year, midweek games, and so. This is a team that, they won't come in impacted at all, but it will be, and their atmosphere is good at home, and there's no question about it, but it will be as crazy of an atmosphere because there's a difference between a Tuesday night and a weekend series. And my guess is that we saw last weekend the 3 largest crowds in school history. My guess this weekend is we'll see the 3 largest crowds in school history once again. So I think we'll be close to 8,000 by the time we get done for these games this weekend.
Yeah, definite home field advantage, I would say, from a crowd standpoint.
Yeah, no, I think it's going to be pretty electric. And, I think Auburn, I guess, is used to playing games till close to midnight, and have another one of those on Friday night with an 8 o'clock start. And, there's so many things to talk about, but I still somebody would never convince me there's a sound reasoning for Oregon State to play a 3 o'clock game local time and for Auburn to play an 8 o'clock game local time when you could flip those and they could both be playing at 6 o'clock. It doesn't make much sense to me, but oh well. So such it is, and you just go on and do what you're asked to do.
Jason Caldwell with us, Auburn Undercover, as it says at the bottom of our scroll on our screen. In your estimation, does Auburn football take some momentum from last week's official visit weekend into this? How did it go last week, and what's the momentum heading into a big visit weekend this week?
Yeah, I think right now it's just you just kind of continue to move forward. Maybe you learn a few things about, because this is new to everybody.
Yeah,
having official visits in May and June to this degree is new to everyone, and I think some of that is learning maybe what kids are asking, what questions parents are asking, how does this thing work? And the crazy part of this is that you're still trying to do this with no ground rules in place.
No,
you're still recruiting, going, And there's some out there right now that are still recruiting as if it's last summer, to where you're going, well, hey, whatever's it take. Well, in a month, it could be, well, here's what you have to spend. But there may be schools that are spending their entire budget on 2 players in promise, in theory. Then when the time comes, they can't deliver that. That's the part we're dealing with right now, is that the unknown. And you go, well, it's not the Wild West, because you don't know what's around the corner. Are they going to pass this house deal? If they do, it's going to change everything. So I think you have to be strategic in, okay, are you just going to go ahead and promise everything and then deal with it later? Or are you going to go, hey, look, here's what we're projecting is going to happen, and understand this is what we're looking at as potential for your position. I think Auburn has tried to do that. I think they've met with NFL teams, and they met with front offices going, how does it work when you have a salary cap? Where do you spend money on? How does it factor in position wise? I think Auburn has tried to get a handle on that. If they don't pass this, then it could blow up in your face, because other teams could have already offered, a quarterback $5 million. I don't know that Auburn was going to be able to do that anyway with Jackson Arnold and Deuce Knight on campus, but you start going, look, can you promise the moon when you don't have it? Or can you promise the moon and make it up, basically? It's going on. And in every sport right now, there's still so much unknown. We're just talking about baseball. Baseball is recruiting. Auburn's in a super regional. The portal's open. You've already added signees, and you don't know how many scholarships you're really going to have for next year's team. Still don't know. And you got all this going on. Somebody has to make a decision soon, because if we don't, I mean, it's June 5th. If you don't do something quick, then you're not going to be able to get it in for next year. We're going to have another year of this.
I'm with you, Jason. You're preaching to the choir. I'm tired of the talk. I'm ready for some action. I've heard all this talk. Last week in Destin, they're talking all this talk about these other topics and subjects that we've been talking about for years. The frustration level, I know, has got to be extreme within athletic departments, but I see the fans getting frustrated now.
100%. And here's my thing too. Everybody now, and from the national guys, I listen to Rick Neuheis on those guys, time to time. And all they're talking about is the playoff format. Is it 5-11? I don't care. It doesn't matter. Fix this first.
Yeah.
Fix this. That should not even be we're not doing anything until this is fixed.
Right.
Don't do it. And so I don't care. I don't care what the playoffs look like. Fix this first.
So, and when you're talking about, there's no rules and anything, there's no guidelines. I mean, there's none. How difficult is it if you're a coach, Jason, and have you run into this where you trying to recruit a kid? I'm hearing, the kids want money just to come to camp. The kids want money just to visit. How do you know who you're dealing with? I mean, there's an uncle who says that he's speaking for the kid, and who do you talk to?
An agent. Yeah. Some of them do have legit agents. Others have agents, and you don't know who to talk to, what to say. And again, that's part of it. You come to, and the guy goes like, "Hey, this school's already offered me $30 million," and Auburn's going to go back and go, "Well, look, our entire budget may only be $12 million for the whole football team. When this thing passes, if it passes, we can't give you $3 million, and nobody else can either. If you do, you're not going to win
because you ain't got any other players.
Yeah, because you're not going to have anybody else. That's the part. That's the whole thing about this is like sooner or later there have to become a guideline and guardrails, and every amount of energy spent right now on doing something else is detrimental to college athletics, in my opinion, as John said, because people are getting tired of it. They're getting tired of every bit of it. And you're right. Camps, Auburn had their first elite camp. Kids don't camp anymore. They don't do it. It's all really young kids. Older kids now, those kids aren't camping. They're not going to come and work out. If you do, it's a rarity.
Wow. Jason, as always, man, we appreciate your insights and analysis. A big weekend with Super Regional Baseball at Plainsman Park. Broke it down for us. extremely well as you do. And I know you're going to be on top of it at Auburn Undercover. Let our viewers and listeners know all about it and how they can get in touch with you.
Yep. And check us out. Like I said, auburnundercover.com, part of the 24/7 network. And we'll have wall-to-wall coverage this weekend of Super Regional. Christian Clemente will be on top of the recruiting thing as official visits come in. They'll have one of the top offensive tackles in the country scheduled to come in Manny Iheanacho. He's a monster and a top guy. I think right now we have 7 or 8 that we have on schedule visits, and all in the top 200 or so players in the country. So it'll be another really good group for them on campus. And so baseball, football recruiting, heck, basketball roster, it never ends and never slows down. So come check us out.
I appreciate you very much, Jason. Thanks.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you, buddy. Appreciate you switching times with us today as
absolutely.
well. Great stuff. All right. That's on our City of Montgomery guest hotline. When we return, I see the wheel is warming up on one of the screens down below here on our broadcast. So I think Gern's ready to get that thing spinning when we return.
Let's get to it. Longshore and McKnight, presented by Bud Light.
Local banking expertise, the newest innovations and technology, personal attention, genuine hospitality. It's all just part of the Riverbank and Trust difference. They invite you to experience it for yourself. Welcome to Banking Above and Beyond at Riverbank and Trust. Locations throughout the River region, locations throughout the state of Alabama. Riverbank and Trust.
The Bush Guide, cold and smooth survival skills. For a successful stint in the great outdoors, pack accordingly. Place heavy essentials near your spine for stability in rough terrain, with light items near the bottom. Now, you may be wondering, where does the Bush Light go? In your stomach. Bush. Head for the mountains. Enjoy responsibly. Copyright 2023, Anheuser-Busch, Bush Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
Don't miss your chance to win big at Victoryland Casino. Play the latest, hottest, most exciting games around with fun bonuses and big jackpots. Don't miss out on your free play. Stop by Player Rewards today and check out this month's exciting free play promotions. Come see why our players keep coming back. You'll have more fun at Victoryland Casino, where you can be a winner too. Victoryland Casino, located off I-85 exit 22, Shorter, Alabama. Must be 21 or older.
Hey, we're back at it. About 9 minutes to go here on Thursday with Longshore and McKnight. Terrence, great questions there. Might have to get into those a little deeper tomorrow on the show, but some great questions, Terrence. If we can maybe, keep those till tomorrow. I don't know if we can do that or not, but I pretty much know the gist of it. I know what you want to talk about, but I think those are some good questions.
There you go.
All right, Gern, I see the wheels ready to go. Yeah, loosen it up a little bit.
Brought
5
to you by
topics.
Victoryland 777 Casino, exit 22 off I-85 in Shorter, Alabama, where you can be a winner too.
That's right. Spin it, Gern. Let's see where it ends up. Who knows? Round and round it goes.
Stop.
Forced retirement. Huh. That could be a lot of people.
We're talking about Tom Thibodeau. All right, so let me get this right. The New York Knicks make the conference finals. They lose to the Pacers. It's the first time that the Knicks have had back-to-back winning seasons since 1995.
What gives?
That's 20 years. No, that's not right. That's 30 years. First time, 30 years that they have back-to-back 50-win seasons, make the Eastern Conference Finals for the first time in forever, and they fire Tom Thibodeau.
What up? What's up? I mean,
the president of the Knicks, Leon Rose, our organization is singularly focused on winning a championship for our fans. This pursuit led us to the decision to inform Tom Thibodeau that we've decided to move in another direction. Ultimately, here's the deal. Number one, it was a dumb thing to do. I mean, he's been coaching in the NFL for a long time, won a lot of games.
Yeah.
Here's the thing about it, and I could care less about the Knicks, but here's the thing about it. You make a move like that, back-to-back 50-win years for a program that has been terrible, quite frankly, John.
Yeah.
They got somebody else in mind. They better have somebody else.
I would think
that
so.
they're thinking of, or that they've had behind the scenes dealing. Not saying it's ethical.
Well,
but they better have somebody better than Tom Thibodeau if they're getting rid of that guy right now. They better have him right now.
Ethical, but it's business. Nothing personal. It's just business.
We're just going behind your back, talking with other people while you're coaching this team in the Eastern Conference Finals.
That's right. And we're going to push you out and bring in the guy we really want. Now, I can see this happening elsewhere. This program hasn't had a lot of losing seasons like the Knicks have, but I can think of one program. It's in a different sport, and it's not at the professional level. I guess it isn't. But if they don't win a lot of games and play for championships, their coach is going to be gone too. No matter how many 10-win seasons they have, 11-win seasons, if they're not playing for natties and winning them, zip, gone.
Talking about the Knicks, and then we immediately go, don't make any mistakes here. He's talking about Auburn.
I'm talking about Alabama. I was actually talking about Alabama because Auburn's had some down years. I was actually talking about Alabama.
Down years for Alabama. You're talking about 9 wins here, 9 wins there. Horror. As long as now, John says it's just business. It's not personal. That the Knicks are going behind Thibodeau's back and talking with other people and trying to get somebody lined up because this guy only gets us to the conference finals and everything. That's just business. But when somebody decides to charter a plane to Sellers, Indiana in the middle of the night, John's clutching his I can't believe it. Oh, I'm shocked.
Well, it's just the way they
would stoop so low.
I mean, as far as I know, we don't have any indication of how this went down with the Knicks behind the scenes.
That is true.
It was so public about what happened with a chartered jet that lands in Sellers, Indiana, which is just across the state line from Louisville.
Just across the Ohio River from Louisville, Kentucky, where
and
Auburn assistant at that time was a head football coach.
I believe a former athletic director was on that flight, board of trustee member or two.
Plural. Yeah. All right. So we go from Tom Thibodeau's firing to the Aubs.
Right. Auburn's kind of tidied up their ship a little bit too much for my liking. I like it when things were a little looser over there.
Here we go. What else we got, Gern?
Yeah, let's go, Gern. Let's spin the
we got retirement.
We got 2 retirements, it looks like. We got double retirements here on the wheel.
One with a question mark at the end. Another one was forced retirement. Okay.
Big OT. Oh,
Oilers today. All right. This is in OT, late in OT. And the Edmonton Oilers, a guy, I know who he is, but I can't pronounce his name, Dane Santil. A winner, Edmonton beats Florida. First game
with
the Stanley
31
Cup
seconds to go. Did you see the clock?
Overtime,
31 seconds.
I think after that they go to penalty
shootouts,
something like that.
Kind of like soccer, which I don't like that either.
So that is game one. Game one, the Oilers have a lead in the NBA Finals. Again, looking to become the first Canadian team to win the Stanley Cup since, I think, 1993. Beautiful. They will play again tomorrow.
Yeah.
In Edmonton.
Ooh.
It's a long flight from Miami to Edmonton, I can imagine.
I don't think the Panthers, that's tough.
All
right, Gern, let's see what else we got here on the Victorland 777 topic wheel, brought to you by Victorland, where you can be a winner too. Here it goes. Where will it land? It looks like retirement with a question mark. Okay. Let's see what this is about. Whoa.
I did not see this. Chris Long, who is a former Eagle and the son of Howie Long, who I like very much, on a Green Light podcast that says he might just retire someday. Barry Sanders, who not only is Saquon Barkley's favorite player, but also has a terrific first name. He was on track to be the all-time leading rusher in the NFL. And he just retired. So that's it. Done. And he never came back. Barkley has been ridden hard in his career. I mean, he has seen the ball a lot. He's been hurt a couple times. He just says, one of these days, it'll be like out of nowhere. I'll probably be balling and just like, call it quits. That's it.
Why not?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Barry Sanders is a part of the Heisman House commercials, though. He's still out there. You see him from time to time.
Yeah. Love Barry Sanders, and we got to move on real quick.
Yeah, we do.
Because we don't have much time, and B, because sooner or later, John will bring up something about Cam Newton not being in the Heisman commercials, and what's the story there?
Oh, yeah.
So let's keep going. All right. What do we got?
Spin them away. Here we go. Look, Barry, blue and green. No way.
Again.
And, well, we have another retirement.
Without a question mark.
Somebody must have actually retired.
Oh, I saw that. This is very Derek Carr. I love Derek Carr.
Yeah,
he was a very good player. And he had that shoulder injury that was really bothering him, and he just said no. He abruptly retired, gave up $30 million by deciding not to go under the knife. He says, and this was great, I didn't want to have surgery and just sit there, and it sounds crazy, but just take the Saints' money. He said, I wouldn't have been able to play if I'd have the surgery. Then if I tried to play with it, wasn't near 100%. That doesn't help either. Saints will let him keep the $10 million roster bonus, but he gives up his $30 million guaranteed salary for 2025 because he doesn't want to take the Saints' money. John, if it was you, I would have to think seriously hard about taking the Saints' money.
Now, look,
I'd
take the $10 million. That would probably satisfy me. I wouldn't need the 30. I'm not greedy. 10's good. We're good there. I'm good with 10.
30 million. And John says, nah.
But I got to tip my cap to the guy. And there again, I got to know what's in the account. What's the portfolio look like? I mean, if this guy's flush with cash, he's thinking, I don't really want to do this. Good for him. And he probably is. He's probably made a lot of money. Been in the league a while, got that pension coming as well. So I think he's going to be okay.
This is the same guy who I used to see over there in the Galleria in between shows at SEC Media Days. The Galleria's got this big gumball machine down there at that center court or whatever. John would always, he walked by there and he'd go check the change machine. Changing? Yeah. I could do without the 30. Yeah. There's a lot of your friends who watch our program who are feeling faint, like they may lose consciousness.
I don't think I'm ever going to be in that position, so I don't really have to think too hard about it. But
this is what I would do. Sure.
If I got 10, maybe I'd let him keep the 30. I don't know. I'd have to think about it. I'd have to get with my accountant and see what he thinks.
Yeah.
All right.
Just as long as it's not shoulder surgery on the same shoulder that you had the collarbone,
Yeah, true. Yeah, good point. All right, spin it to make it official. It's our last topic of the day on our Victoryland 777 topic wheel. Exit 22 off I-85 Shorter, Alabama, and it says wild card.
Ooh. French wild card Loïs Boisson is in the semis of the French Open. She had ACL surgery last year, and I think the knee injury happened at the French Open. They play on clay at Roland Garros.
What was this? Why she injured it? I mean, gee whiz! It looks like her legs and that looks like that hurts.
She has 3 top 10 wins in this tournament right now. Loïs Boisson, ranked 361, is into the semis of her first French Open or major. She's got a little bit of A, momentum going in. B, that French crowd's going to love her. And C, before we end this, and we need to end this now because she was ranked number 361, which is twice as much as 180, which is how much Cam Newton was accused of having received when he was playing at Auburn. So, you just got to, I know these things are coming.
Yeah.
John can get anything and turn it into an Aub thing.
I'll leave you with this one. What is the percentage of shows that we've done, thousands and thousands together, where a Cam Newton reference did not come up at least once?
Since 2010, none. Before 2010, when nobody knew who Cam Newton was, John was like, oh, who is that guy? Never heard of him before.
Well, he's one of my favorite players, Barry, so, I want to make sure he gets the recognition.
2 things to look out for coming up. On Tuesday, this coming Tuesday, show number 200 of Longshore and McKnight.
That is correct. Hard to believe, but it is moved
shows
quickly. Well, I can tell you where show 198 will be. It will be tomorrow. It's Stivers Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in Prattville.
Yep. We are going to be out there live, 7 until 9 live. You can watch us at any time during the day. Stivers Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram, Cobbs Ford Road in Prattville. We will tomorrow spend some time thinking, how in the world does the Phantom keep doing it? Man, he had Indiana plus the 9.5, and that paid off again. What is it about the NBA that is just, I mean, it's just like serving layups to the Phantom.
Yeah, it's been good. We're going to hopefully do it again tonight. Terrence, try to send us those questions again tomorrow if we can't keep these, because I want to touch on that tomorrow on the program as well. Really appreciate that. And on the River Region Straw chat line, those are good questions.
Yeah, but pretty good show today, I'd say. We talked to a sitting United States Senator and a nominee for the College Football Hall of Fame, plus Jason Caldwell, AuburnUndercover.com, Rodney Ortiter, Insider.com. Join Senator Tommy Tuberville for all of our guests, and for Gurren Jr., our producer, and John Longshore, I'm Barry McKnight. In association with Yellowhammer News, it's Longshore and McKnight, presented by Bud Light.